Hello, so what to do if you don't know your time of birth at all? You've asked around your family members, mother, father, siblings, etc. They don't really have a clue whether you were born in the morning, late afternoon, late evening, etc., etc. So you have absolutely no clue. What can you do under those circumstances? My suggestion is you place your time of birth as 12 noon. The other suggestions too, this is just the beginning. You can still read this chart calculated based on 12 noon. The good news here is the only planet that's likely to change its position in a 24-hour period is Moon. Moon changes its nakshatra close to 24 hours, and therefore that's the only planet that's time sensitive. The other planets, their sign positions and their nakshatra positions can still be read. The only issue area here is that you cannot rely on the house position, which is very, very important. And you cannot also rely on the dasha system known to predict life events as per Vedic astrology. So now you have to go beyond the generic analysis of simply understanding planet, sign and nakshatra positions. For example, you've placed your time of birth as 12 noon, you've identified certainly in your chart is in Punarvasa in the sign of Gemini. You can still draw some conclusions from it, but you don't exactly know what role that planet is playing in your chart, as the house positions are unreliable. To identify the house position now, there is another good news that I have for you. Based on Vedic astrology, which follows an equal sign housing system, we only have 12 possible options. The 24-hour period can be broken down into 2 hours each. So it's not as if there are an infinite number of possibilities and we cannot analyze all of them. There are only a limited options and there are 12 of them. So your birth chart can fall in 12 different ascendants, and based on each ascendant, planets are going to be assigned different roles. A certain planet is going to be responsible for your career, and that's going to be the ruler of the 10th house. So under these circumstances, of all the 12 options, try to match your career with the ruler of the 10th house. If, for example, you're an engineer, it's likely the ruler of the 10th house is Mars, or Mars is having a strong influence on the 10th house. And by that I mean that Mars is placed there. Alternatively, if you're working in the government sector, so Sun or Saturn's influence on the 10th house is very likely. If your work is very creative in nature, then Venus's influence. So here you can narrow down the 12 options to a handful of options, I'm hoping. Now the next thing you can do is to make a list of all life events, time of marriage, foreign travel, higher education, job promotion, etc. Specific dates of all important events, and try to match it to the dasha table. I know it's a time-consuming analysis, but it's very useful. You can actually identify your time of birth. In one of the videos I posted on this channel, I did that for Narendra Modi's chart, whose time of birth was in doubt. There were 3 different options, and I found one option that made the most sense. I think for that, you'll need to understand the basics, how to read the dasha table. There are a couple of videos I've posted on this channel, which would help you get started. The point I want to make here is that you can still read your chart even if you're unable to identify your exact time of birth. If you spend more time based on your career, you can narrow down the time window from 24 hours to about 6 hours, and from 6 hours based on the dashas you can identify the exact time. I'm hoping this is useful. If you have any questions about it, please post a comment. Please subscribe to this channel if you'd like to stay in touch. Bye for now.